So welcome back to SWAU, and we've got a great guest. Last week we had the wonderful action legend Scott Adkins, and we've got his partner in crime from Take Cover, the wonderful Jack Parr. Jack, welcome to the show, sir.
How you doing, Brian? Thanks for having me.
You know what? I am doing all right, and I'm doing even better now because what I didn't realise that when I watched your movies, that you're a local lad to me, which is astonishing because it's always nice to know that you know there's talent like you that come from a place where I'm from, which is a proper working class place, you know. So first of all, I want to say congratulations on Take Cover. I've seen this. I've seen the movie. It's out now. Everyone needs to watch it. It's a 5-star movie from me. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and I don't think I blinked once during the film. But we will get into that. But let's start from the beginning because you've starred in Peaky Blinders, Masters of the Air, Emmerdale, The Last Breath, which we're going to talk about in a moment. What was it about acting that caught your eye? What was that spark, and why not a 9-to-5 job?
Well, it's interesting, mate, because like you said, being a local lad and seeing actors come from Mansfield, it's strange, isn't it? Like there's no real kind of prospect in Mansfield for that. You don't really, they don't really think you can do that. They say, you should get a 9-to-5 or you should be a joiner or a farrier. Like my brother and my dad are on the railway. They work together. And that's the kind of, it's a mining town, isn't it? It's ex-miners. So that's the kind of mindset, which is fine. But there's no one saying you could, if you want to, you could go to Hollywood or you could go to London and be an actor. No one's ever said that. So it was totally by accident. I was a rugby player. I was playing for Mansfield Town, and then I was going off to uni in Leeds. And the summer before I went off to uni, and I was going to do sports science and be a PE teacher, I think. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And in these little villages, there's one called Welbeck Estate. Have you heard of Welbeck?
Yes.
There's a farm shop there, Welbeck Farm Shop.
Right.
Well, it's super nice. It's beautiful. It's like really historic. It's got like these massive, I don't know how big they are. They're like 12-foot walls surrounding it. And there's like mansions and stuff. And almost royalty live there, This massive film came and filmed on Welbeck Estate. And it was called Testament of Youth. I think it came out in 2014 maybe, and they were looking for extras, and some of my mates' parents were like, "Oh, you guys should go and be extras." And we said, and I'd never even thought about it. It never crossed my mind that you could get paid to be an actor. It didn't. I used to love movies growing up, but I never really thought past that it was a movie. I never really thought they're actors and they're getting paid. I just thought brilliant movie, move on. So I didn't really know what an extra was. I was like, I kind of thought, yeah, I get this background, but I didn't really know how it worked. So we said, we don't really know how to go about it. And so my mate, Will, his dad said, oh, I know someone on Welbeck Estate. He says that their production base is the Village Hall, and that's where we used to do our school plays. So me and four of my mates, we literally just walked down. We walked straight through the door because it's our Village Hall. We own this place.
Yeah, it's ours.
We're coming straight in. Yeah, we're coming in. No knocking. We're coming in. Whether you like it or not. And this woman was on a laptop on this desk, and there was like thousands of World War I costumes behind her. And she looked up as if to say, "What are you doing here?" And she was like, "Can I help you?" And we said, yeah, we're just from down the road. We heard you're doing a movie. Do you want any extras? And she was like, yeah, we do want extras, actually. We want hundreds of them. So we said, look, like, if you get someone calling in sick and it's 6 a.m, I mean, we can still be here. So luckily, and this is how serendipitous some things are in life, I didn't have a haircut for like a good few weeks. And I remember I had a bit skin, I didn't have a job. I was going off to uni. And it was the summer break, so I didn't really have any money. And haircuts were only a £5, so I must have been tight. But
you're from Mansfield. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're all tight. So all my mates at the time, they had the skin fades where it was like super, like almost like bald on the sides,
like this,
like that.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. So that was well in. They just started to do it when we were kids. Then that was like the fashion. And so all my mates had that, and they took us upstairs to hair and makeup, and the woman said, right, these three, they can't because their haircut's too too modern. But this kid, he can stay because we can cut his hair into the World War One hairstyle. And they all walked off like, he always falls in shit, comes out smelling roses. It's always him. And I'm like, hey. So I did the summer.
No.
I did the summer being a World War One soldier and German soldier and all sorts. And this woman just kept on using me because she said, I can't use you too much, but you are perfect. You're down the road. And then she said, have you got any other mates? And I said, I've got this other lad called Oliver Ashton. He had long hair at the time. Not long hair, but it was a bit scraggier than a short back and shabba. And so he's actually from Ashfield. He's from Sutton Ashfield. So I called him and I was like, Ollie, do you want to come and do this extra work? And we had the entire summer. He stayed at mine. We were down the road and we had the best summer ever. We were getting paid, bit of money in the pocket. And then I remember that day, actually, I was a bit skinned. She took me upstairs. The lads left and then they cut my hair and they said, just fill out this slip and hand it in and you'll be paid. And I said, paid for what? And she says, well, we pay you 50 quid to have your hair cut. And I was like, so I couldn't afford an haircut, but now you're paying me to have my haircut. I was like, and that was before we even like filmed anything. They were like, yeah, no, you get paid for like fittings and stuff and like get your haircut. And I was like, what? Is that? And then they feed you, like, I'll go to the canteen, get some food. I was like, you're having a laugh, aren't you? I was like, this is mental.
You're ringing your mates up. Quick, get down here. Get your hair cut.
Lads, it's free food. So that was that kicked off the spark. And then I got on set and I'd played in these fields, these carrot fields, like all my life, and then now it's World War One trenches. And as far as the eye could see, there was hundreds of extras. There was like these kind of elephant huts where the medical bays were, trenches, and there were World War One vehicles driving around. And I just was like, just completely blown away in a different world. And I just looked around, got every day gobsmacked. And then once the actors came in, it was like Kit Harington, Alicia Vikander, and Taron Egerton. And the director and the cameras, I saw all these huge cameras I'd never seen before. And I just was like, it just blew my mind. I was like, I've got to do this. So I said to everyone, including that woman who gave us the extra job, I said, how do I become an actor? And she kind of laughed because she was like, she knew I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but she was like, it's a long journey, mate. You're going to have to work hard. Like, you've got to get an agent and a show reel and spotlight. And it's just really hard to get a gig and you might have to go to drama school. So that as soon as I got to uni, I was Googling in my lectures, how do I become an actor? That's all I Googled because I didn't really know what I was doing. So it took about 2 years of uni for me to realise, okay, I'm really interested in this now, so let me drop out of uni and go for this. I worked in a restaurant in Leeds for another year, saved up, moved to London. And I was just figuring it out. I had no one to talk to. I had no mentors. No one in my family was in the business. Google was my friend. So just figured it out along the way. And it took a long time. It took me 6 years to get a TV, like a line on TV. And it took me 3 years to get an agent. And like I was doing loads of short films and like really low budget features. But because I was so naive in the industry, I thought I was doing well, which kept me so positive. Yeah. Whereas if I look back, there's so many actors that if they were doing that, they'd be like, it's not working out for me. Like, what's going on? Like, I'm not on TV yet. I was just like, I've landed a short film, like it's a student film, like yes.
But the thing is, though, at least you're grounded. At least you're grounded. At least, I mean, it's so difficult. There's so many actors out there trying to make it, trying to get that sniff of something, and the fact that literally for you didn't have an absolute clue, and then all of a sudden it's like everything's fallen into place. And I'm sure that all the hard work is definitely paid off. I mean, when you started out and you had your resume, you've got to be honest now. Did you lie on it? On like your special skills and everything like that. And did you ever get caught out in any of that?
No. I mean, one time I reckon my old agent put down that I was like highly skilled on a horse, and I went into an audition, and I'd never ridden a horse before, but my family's got loads of horses, so I was like, I'll pick it up. And on the way out of the audition, I think I did well because he stopped me and he said, hold on, it says you can gallop here, is that right? And I was like, I'm going to be very honest with you, mate. I cannot gallop. I was like, don't get me galloping on that set. And I think my agent must have put it because I was like, I've not put anything about galloping, but I said I could ride a horse. So. But yeah, my first agent, she was like, look, get you on Spotlight. I'd done an extra job on Hollyoaks, and I got a featured role where you don't talk, but you're in focus. she just put it down that I got cast, and that, there's some white lies to get through the tape. And
I had one time I was in an episode of Peak Practice, and I had to spray paint the doctor's car with Liar and ride off on a motorbike, right, a motocross. I'd put down that I could ride a motorbike. I couldn't ride a motorbike. Literally, the day before, I had to find someone with a motorbike to teach me how to even start it, never mind ride it. And literally, I was bricking myself the entire time. Not only was I bricking myself in thinking to myself, how do you spell liar? Because I had to spray paint it while they're filming, and they only had 3 bonnets in case something happened. But I pulled it off. But I tell you what, there are actors out there that I'm sure they've lied, a bit more than just saying they cannot gallop, because that is a skill that I'm sure that you could pick up very, very easily. But then it goes from there. So you obviously go to Leeds, you find your passion, you go down to London. I mean, has there been a point in your career that you've actually thought to yourself, do you know what? I'm actually really good at this. This is the right decision for me, for myself.
Not that I'm really good at this, but I did think a lot of the times, like, thank God I've found something I'm so in love with, and I'm so passionate about, because so many people I meet, they say, I just don't know what I want to do, and they're in their 30s, and they're like, I still don't know what I want to do, and I don't like my job. So I wasn't in the mindset of like, I'm really good at this, because I was always thinking, I think I always worked so hard at it because I thought I wasn't that good. And because I didn't think I was naturally talented, because I was like, I'm just this northerner who's just fell into it. So I'm like, no one's told me I'm any good at this. I just wanted to do it. So
as northerners, we're just grateful for anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a free meal and a haircut. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I'm in.
That's true. So I didn't think I was really good at it. And I wasn't actually. And I genuinely wasn't when I first started. I really wasn't. I was a pretty bad actor, and I've got some stories about that. But
surely not. Surely not.
Proof in the pudding. Yeah. No. Proof in the pudding. Like, I was bad. Like, some people looked at me and was like, "You need training," and I was like, "Okay."
Well, it's obviously paid off. I mean, I want to speak about The Last Breath, because this film here, actually, this is a film that shocked me the most, because I actually thought when I watched this that you were American.
Oh wow!
Which I was shocked to find out that you weren't, and then of course you're from Mansfield. I mean, Brilliant. This film alone, I just thought was incredible, because not only is it putting actors' talents to the test because of the environment, but it's also got sharks in it, which is my greatest fear, alongside clowns. I mean, what was it like working on this film? Because you're underwater a lot of the time. There may not have been real sharks there, but the way that they did it is very, very good. And of course, you had the wonderful Julian Sands, which is an epic actor. Warlock, for me, is one of the movies of the 80s for me that I'll never forget. What was it like working on that film, and especially with Julian Sands? Because sadly, it was one of his last, films that he worked on before he passed.
It was mega, and it was one of those films. Well, number one is that everyone knows that films tend to need a name to get it financed. So to get a lead role in a movie is very difficult. So to get it, I was like, I couldn't believe it, because I thought, oh my God, this is a massive leap in the career, because then people see you as a lead actor. You've got one on the notch. It's like, it can do it. It can handle, a multi-million pound budget movie without crumbling. It's all those things that you go, oh wow, I might step up a bit here. So to get it was mad. I don't know who went up for it, but my agent said you might have beaten off some more famous talent than yourself, so congrats. So that was a nice feeling. And when I read the script and when I got the audition through, I thought, oh, this would be good. This would be one when you're an old man and you sit telling your grandkids your grandpa did a movie underwater once,
with sharks.
With sharks and all that. So I read it, and it said you have to be. They were looking for scuba divers or really good swimmers, and it's 60% shot underwater. And I thought, what an experience that'll be. Scuba diving for 2 months, shooting something underwater. I thought, I just thought straight away, it's not mine. I haven't got that. That's too good to be true. So what I did was, again, there's going to be a lot of stories of me being skint, but at the time, I was skint, and I had a bit of money in a tax account. I always put a bit of cash away in the tax account. And I said to my missus, look, it's probably a bit stupid idea, but they are looking for scuba divers, and I wonder how many actors have got a scuba diving license in London. I imagine not many, and this character just feels so right. Just feels like I fit straight into it. So I said, shall I take 400 quid out of my tax account and get a paddy course? And if I don't get the job, then I've got a paddy course when I go to the Caribbean islands and I want to go scuba diving on holiday. And if I get the job, it's a small fee and I get massive rewards. It'll surpass the payment of the £400. So I went and got my paddy course, and the filming was meant to start in July, and it got to about August. And I thought, fair enough. I took a risk, whatever. But I got a call from an agent on the train. She was like, oh, you're on a very short list for this job, And I was like, what job? And she said, The Last Breath. And I was like, I thought that had already started filming. She said, no, they've delayed, it's been delayed. She was like, you were like top 2. And I was like, oh, wow. She's like, do you want to go meet the director? And I was like, hell yeah. And so I went and met the director at Spotlight. And when I walked in, there was Kim there. And I worked with Kim at Chiltern Firehouse, which is this posh hotel in London where all these actors want to work because Leonardo DiCaprio goes there to stay, and Robert De Niro. So all the actors are like, I want a job. So I was a bellboy and Kim was a cocktail waitress. And I walk in and I thought she was auditioning for Stranger Things, the theatre, because they were auditioning then. And I walked in and I said, hey Kim, are you auditioning for Stranger Things? And she was like, no, I'm reading for you. And I was like, what do you mean you're reading for me? What do you mean? She says, I've already got the part of Sam. And I was like, no. I was like, no way. So we sat down just catching up, just chatting like, what, that's mad, when do you get the part? And Joaquin walks out and he said, oh, do you two know each other? I said, yeah, we've worked together, but we've known each other for years. So go in, and we're in there for like an hour, and normally you're in an audition for like 15 minutes most, and we're in there for an hour, and he's just saying, wow. Right, I'm gonna talk to you as though you got the part, so I can't be bothered to keep going back and forth on like, if you get this. We're running through it, we go through scene after scene, we talk, and then he says, have you ever been scuba diving before? And I said, well, funny story, this weekend I just passed my paddy course. And it was in a murky lake in outskirts of London. It was horrible. It was freezing cold. It was murky. I was scared. I'm kind of scared of drowning anyway. I think everyone is, but I was a little bit scared of water, to be fair, in a way. So down there, I was pretty petrified. And he said, did you enjoy it? I went, yeah, I loved it. I thought it was mint. And I was like, no, I hated it. And he said, he was just confused. He was like, why did you get that then? And I said, well, just in case, I thought, if I don't get the job, then I've got the paddy course. And he said, well, that's a big tick because every actor we've auditioned, they got it when they were like 10, when they were on a family holiday. So they haven't scuba dived in years. So that you've just got it, have you? And I was like, yeah, I've got my paddy card here if you want to see it. And so, I mean, I don't often do that because it's a weird thing to do. Like it can make you look weirdly desperate. And he even mentioned that to me in at the screening. He said there was 1% of me that thought that's a red flag.
Really?
But 99% was like, you were perfect for it and you auditioned well and you seemed like you got your head screwed on. But he said there was one slight. He said, when the doctors' auditions are going off and they got all the equipment and they come in a white gown and they just think, I think you're a bit insane.
He's just
actually,
getting his character. He's just getting his character. What's wrong with that?
I didn't know that was the etiquette, that you might look insane. And I was just doing it because I thought you need a scuba diver.
But how bizarre is that, though? How bizarre is that you knew each other? Do you think that is the one of the main reasons why you got the role, because of the chemistry that you already had, off screen, and that clearly shown when you were testing with each other?
Yeah, I think it all adds up. I think it's there's loads of like parts to it, but that was a big tick. The scuba diving license was a big tick. I was right for the part. He said the accent was great, the acting was great, and he said to Kim after, like, non-biased, who do you think after today? And she said, seriously, non-biased, I think it's Jack. And he said, I think it's Jack too. So I think it was just it's just a loads of different things, isn't it? It could be, and I did think, like, that was a Friday, and they said we'll call you Monday. And over the weekend, I did think, if I don't get this, I tried my best, but there was something wrong, I think.
But you've still got a paddy card with your picture on
Yeah,
it. So
I was like,
you've
everything
still
was
got
lining up
that.
for me on this job. Yeah, everything was lining up, and I just thought I did have a good feeling about it, but I didn't want to say it. And I said to
Yeah.
my miss, I've got a good feeling about this, and so I got the job, and it was mega. And then we went to Malta, and they got all our paddy courses.
It looked absolutely amazing on screen, but all the interiors, that was all done in a tank, if I'm right in saying?
That's right. Yeah. They built a set, so it was like 8 different rooms of a shipwreck, and then they built the tank around it. It's like a portable tank. So apparently they couldn't find a tank available in a studio. I think they were all booked up. So the marine coordinator, he was just like, "Oh, I've got a tank in my at my house." When he says his house, they all said that like it's in his garage. He's got a warehouse. You know, he's a big old marine coordinator. He's got a lot of equipment. They all said, yeah, he's got one at his house. And I was like, what do you mean he's got his house? What are you talking about?
Garage, you know.
And you should see the thing. It's absolutely massive. So they built the set, and then they build this kind of cladding around the set, and then it's supported by hundreds of like metal posts, like scaffolding, and then they fill it up. That's it, really. Sink it, and then they have to clean it because all the dust and all the crap. They kind of clean it for 48 hours, and then when it's crystal clear, they start filming. And obviously, there's always problems. You know, first day of film was too murky, and then like, what do we do? So the first week we did all our surface level like air pocket scenes because they were like water's not clear enough, and then on the last week, like literally by the last day, it had to be wrapped because a new film was coming to the studio, so they had to rip the set down. And last week it was murky again, so everyone's panicking, going, "Oh no, what do we do?"
Okay, it's confession time. Out of all the cast, who was a naughty one and went to the toilet in it? Come on, there's got to be someone that's literally done a cheeky one in it that literally didn't want to get out. You good man. So that is why it wasn't murky. It just went purple. You had that purple dye. You know,
look, I was trying to keep that secret, Brian, but I'll probably never see them guys again, so it's fine. Because you did have to get out and go to the toilet, but I was like...
Did you? Oh. But Julian Sands, great actor, a great accent in this film, I've got to say. I wasn't expecting that accent, and it was perfect. What was he like to work with, and did you get any words of wisdom from him? Because he is a legend.
He's a legend. Yeah, everyone was buzzing to have him on board, and we did this table read in London before we went out there, and he turned up, and I was thinking Julian Sands would be the guy that doesn't turn up to rehearsals. I was thinking he's going to come out his trailer, do his scene, and do his close-up and go back, and he was the total opposite. He was like buzzing to be there. He was like a kid, like in his first film. He was super supportive. As soon as I met him in London, he kept on calling me his boy. He says, "Hey, my boy," because he was already trying to create the chemistry of this father-son duo, like kind of characters. Because we're kind of mates in the film, but actually, I think it's more of a father figure. I think he was really looking out for me looking out for Noah. So he looked out for me as well, and he was super supportive. And he'd want to swap emails, and he'd say, "Right, I'll get the costume room for rehearsals. Like, let's go down and work out character and work out backstory." So it was just cool. Like, it was just so nice. And like, the biggest thing I learned from him was like, never lose that flame. He was like in his, don't know what he was now, 60s, 70s maybe? I don't know how old he was.
60s, I think.
Yeah. And like I said, it was like his first film. He was so energetic about it. He wanted to be there the whole time. He just was having so much fun. And I was like, never lose that spark of why you're doing this. Because he just loved it. He loved it. He loved acting.
Oh.
You know,
do you know what he will be? I've always said he will be remembered in his work, and he did so many great projects that are gonna live on for many years to come. Yeah. But I want to now talk about Take Cover, because it's one thing being in a film, but then it's another thing being next to a little actor called Scott Adkins. I mean, I don't know if anyone out there knows of him. Apparently he can kick very well, and he can take a few punches. What was that like? I mean, getting a role on this film, and I've got to say, you play Ken, and I just absolutely adore the chemistry that you and Scott have on this film, especially the scene in the lift when you're calling him names. I was just chuckling to myself. How did this film come about for you? And did you realise who was attached to the film when you went for the audition?
So, another interesting story, and this is proof that work breeds work, and if you're in the game long enough, it will come around, and you do a good job, and you do well on set, it'll come back round, and work breeds work. So I did a film. I just auditioned for a film called One Shot, got the part. I opened the script, and the first scene was chopper gunning across the Black Sea, 4 Navy SEALs. I went, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, it just sounded so cool. It's just this chopper just gunning across the sea and these 4 Navy SEALs, and I was one of the SEALs. So Scott Adkins was the lead actor in that. And when I got that part, I was like, oh my God, when I was at uni, me and my best mate watched this film called Boyka, Undisputed. And we were just like, what a kick-ass film. And I was like, I think that's Boyka. And so I was like, oh, he's cool. And then I looked at his Instagram. I was like, wow, he's got a massive following. I was like, oh my God, I've not seen him in anything since Boyka. So I was kind of like nervous about One Shot, but when I got on that set, we were just having such a good laugh. He's from Birmingham, and I'm obviously from Mansfield, and we just had similar like childish banter. And everyone was kind of a little bit, not serious, but everyone was kind of taking the job seriously. Me and him were just like being kids, basically. And so I was just like, I was loving him because he was just, I thought it was like Julian Sands. I thought it was going to be a big presence and a bit scary, but what it was, we were just 2 kids on set with some guns. It was brilliant. So we had a great laugh. And then I can't remember how long it went by, but a couple of years maybe. We'd swapped numbers, but we'd not stayed in touch because I didn't want to bother him. He's a famous actor. I didn't want to like nag him. So no contact really. And then suddenly I'm in bed. It's probably about 10 o'clock at night with my missus, and we're watching a film. And I get a phone call and it says Scott Adkins. And I'm like, Mel, Scott Adkins is ringing me. And she's like, pick it up then. And I'm like, oh yeah. And so I'm trying to be cool. I'm like, right, Scott, how you doing, mate? Right. Like my voice is all going all weird pitches. I'm like, hello, Scott, you're all right, mate? And he's like, yeah, mate, you're all right. I said, we've got this movie going called Take Cover, and I'm the sniper, and we're looking for the spotter. It's a great role, second lead, proper buddy cop kind of movie, really fun. I thought of you from One Shot, and Ben Jakes, the producer, was like, what a great idea, actually, because they were struggling to find the right guy. So he said, you'll get an audition tomorrow. Do you want to audition for it? And I was like, yeah, dude, I'd love to audition for it. I was like, thank you so much for calling me. And so I auditioned, and then I'm waiting, and he told me to grow out my beard. And I messaged him again saying, Scott, I don't want to nag you, but have you heard anything? And he said, don't worry, we're not filming for a while, but just, they're umming and ahhing because you're too young, and I'm, getting late 40s now, and you're late 20s. I don't know if it's like going to be right with the age, and there was other actors with a bit more of a name involved in the mix. And I went, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, I'm out. Like I have not got the part again. And then just random call in the back of a taxi. It's like, oh, you got to Take Cover, and I was like, yes. So again, like I said to Scott, because we knew each other, I said, look, I'm happy to drive to your house if you want to do rehearsals. I don't know how busy you are. So I drove to his house, and we did rehearsals with Nick McKinless, and we already had that chemistry, and it was already the initial like meeting someone was already there, like we already had that chemistry, and we had that silly banter anyway offset. So it was perfect, really. And I was hoping that was the case, and I was hoping that Scott and Alice Eve were big enough names so they didn't have to get another third name or whatever, and I was hoping that they just wanted a good chemistry, and that it's it worked out. They took a leap because they were like, look, he's young, like I don't know if it's going to work. So he was like, mate, grow your beard, get in the gym, and like let's make you into an action movie star. And I was like, okay, dude. And he literally said that to me. I spoke to
Scott last week, and Scott said to me that he was going to make you into an action star. And,
that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, and he sung your praises, and he thinks you're the best thing since sliced bread. So that obviously must feel amazing to get that from Scott. I mean, the action in it, and we do see you as an action star, Jack. We see you throw some punches. I mean, what sort of preparation went into that, and how much did Scott help and guide you through that? Because obviously he is a bit of a veteran when it comes down to roundhouse kicks and getting thrown about.
He is. Do you know what? Actually, massive respect to him. He didn't chip in at all on my fight scenes. Like, I thought he was going to be coming in like, no, but he didn't. He stepped back and let me crack on. So, but to be fair, Nick McInnes is obviously a massive stunt guy. He's been in all sorts of stuff. So that was the reassurance. And Nick brought his own stunt team, as in like the people he liked. So we had probably like 6 stuntmen who were teaching me the choreography, and Nick. So I think Scott was like, I think he's got this. So I just trained really hard. I think I got the job 6 weeks before shoot, and there's a topless scene, as you know. So I was like, oh God, I got to train really hard for this. I just hit the gym so hard, and diet and no alcohol. And so I just got in shape, and then I knew that they were going to choreograph it, really well before we shot. And I was excited because I love doing stuff like that. That stuff is so much fun. And I wanted to do more stuff. And I've done little bits of fight stuff, and I've done military stuff, with guns, but never a really good fight scene like that. So I was excited, man. And I've always played rugby and been athletic, so I'm up for getting stuck in. So
this film is so non-stop. It really is. It keeps you on your toes, and especially the bullets that come through. When you hear that crack, and you think your heart goes, and you hear that crack, and you're waiting for the tracer round to come through. Have you got a favourite scene from working on Take Cover? Because you have so many good scenes, especially talking about satin sheets to the lift to, it's so many scenes. I mean, have you got a favourite one?
Well, it's so funny you said that. I was literally just got the downloadable copy, so I could cut it up to, some people ask for stunt reels if you're going for other jobs and show real scenes. So I was cutting it up today, and I was literally sat next to my girlfriend going, I don't know which one I should put in. I like them all. Like, which one should I put in? But I don't know, man. Like you said, there's some really good scenes in that. Like, I think the fight scene where, tackling the guy through the wall, that is one of my all-time favorites, because when they go through walls and stuff in movies, I'm like, yeah, that's sick. But I suppose the chemistry one, the banter, like you said, it's difficult, isn't it? It's like there is some good ones. I like the one where they walk into the car and they're having a bit of banter, and I'm like, why don't you go and I don't know if we can swear on this podcast, but
of course you can. Of course you can. I think the scene when you're not very happy with him, is that the one?
No, I was thinking the one where they get off the plane, they're walking towards the cars, and he's trying to get him to Amsterdam. He's like, I'll come to Amsterdam, and we're having a bit of banter there. I suppose maybe my favourite one might be where Ken's waiting for Sam to get off the plane. And he's like, you've fucking been ignoring me this whole time, man. Like, where have you been? And I love it when the characters are going, fuck you. And he's like, nah, fuck you. And like, no, fuck you, man. Get in the fucking car, man. I love that. I think they're banter. Again, I think it's perfect because we're just probably childish, and they needed that. They needed 2 kids, just like military kids, just... Is it
hard work? Is it hard work? Because it just looks like you're having a whale of a time, throwing people through walls, getting into fights, literally thinking back now to that kid that went on the set, as an extra to now. I mean, does it feel really hard work, or is it literally you enjoy it so much that it doesn't feel like hard work?
I enjoy it so much. It's my favourite thing to do. It is, when I was on The Last Breath, it's the most money I've ever been paid, and we got paid weekly every Friday. And every Friday, I forgot money was coming in. I didn't care. I didn't care how much I was getting paid. The other actors would be like, we get paid today, we get paid. And it would just accumulate because I wasn't spending it, because I was like, I'm happy. I'm happy. This is what I've dreamt of doing. Like, I remember looking at the set, and looking up, and I said to myself, I think this is what I've been dreaming of. I think this is what I've been gearing up for. And so I was like, hey, man, they could have got me for free. Like, idiots! They paid me, man. They didn't have to pay me.
Talking about your first like proper like paycheck. I mean, did you decide on what you wanted to buy, or was it a case of, oh my days, I'm going to put that in the bank, or did you treat yourself? I mean, did you treat anyone around you, or buy something that you've always wanted?
Yeah. You know what? Like, I didn't buy myself anything. My girlfriend came and visited in Belgium, and it was her birthday.
She took it all.
She took it. She took all.
She took it all. That's what women do. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We're just like mules. Yeah. You know, we're just like a bank.
I was a bit generous to her because, like number one, I've not had much money growing up, or never had money to my name, so I was just like kind of splashing out her a little bit, and I didn't make her wait for it. I was just like, it's weeks away, but just have it now. Have it now. Like, just go in and buy. She wanted a Nintendo DS, it was like 300 quid. I was like, I just have it. And then I'd feel bad on her birthday, so I'd get her more stuff. And then on Christmas Day, this is a stupid thing, but she always drove this horrible Citroen C7. I don't even know if it's right, but it sounded like it was falling apart, and she'd had it since she was 17. Wow. And it was an absolute heap. And I'd been, I had a really good couple of years, been getting paid some decent money, so I bought she's always wanted an Audi TT, so I bought her an Audi TT for Christmas Day. And
you romantic, you. I bet she got straight in there and drove off.
Brian, I set the bar far too high, because year after year I've been like, it's not a TT.
Yeah. This is the thing. Yeah, you've got to watch it. I have said that to a friend of mine. You need to watch it, because it just gets more and more each year, and then before you know it, you're buying houses and horses and dogs and cats, and you've got to be careful. But I'm sure there's going to be bigger and better checks to come, because literally your career has been amazing. I mean, have you got a plan in place in what you want to achieve, or the people that you want to work with? Because you've worked with so many great names already, but is there like a wish list of directors that you'd like to work with and other actors?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because this industry is so mad that you don't know who you're going to work with, you don't know when you're going to work again, and so a wish list to me is something for fun, but I don't know how you would be able to measure that. So my wish list would be like DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese, right? I mean, like, imagine being on a movie like that. That's what I'd love. But I fear that Scorsese might die before I get to that level.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, let's see. But I'm like, oh God, he's getting old now. And I'm like, I'm only just breaking in. So I'm like, it might be 40 before I get a role like that. So I'd love to work with like Leonardo DiCaprio or one of the big dogs. Like, imagine working with Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. Oh. Everyone keeps telling me I could be Tom Cruise's like son or something.
There you go. Never say never, because it's industry. You've got people that are grafting for many, many years and they don't get anywhere. But yet yourself, you've done so much, and it just takes that one thing, doesn't it? It doesn't. Yeah. It's that one chance to actually, because that's what part of it is chance, isn't it? Being in the right place at the right time, being seen by the right people. But again, with films like Take Cover and your IMDb with Peaky Blinders, which I've got to confess, I've never watched Peaky Blinders, and
well, that's good for me.
And I feel really bad.
You won't see me too much.
Well, my stepson keeps on trying to persuade me to watch it, but I'm watching so many things at the moment. It is crazy.
It's too much.
Yeah, but Jack, lovely to chat with you, and everyone needs to watch Take Cover. It's out now in the US and in the UK, and I look forward to having you back on the show. Consider me as your local correspondent now to Mansfield and the Midlands. Keeping it real. Forget these Americans that are very formal and very professional. I'm from your ends, as they say. as the youngsters say, but thank you so much for being on the channel. I look forward to it. I mean, is there anything that you're working on now, or is it a case of you're putting your feet up and looking after your other half?
No, nothing at the minute. Nothing solid, nothing concrete. After the films, there's been a few meetings which have been interesting, some really good scripts, but nothing is solid. Some of them haven't got all the financing yet. Some of them I haven't got the role yet, but I've had scripts sent through. So it's cool and it's interesting, and I'm reading a lot of scripts, but I haven't actually got a job right now. So
and that is unfortunately the pitfalls of the industry, because you know, you can be on a show for like 10 years and all of a sudden, you know, it finishes, and then what do you do? But I am sure, I've got faith that something would come your way very, very soon with the stuff that you already do. I think it's fantastic. But Jack, look after yourself, keep safe, and we'll talk very, very soon.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me. Loved it.